Hey guys, what's up? Thanks for tuning in. So I've been planning this video for some time now, top 10 most anticipated Malayalam movies of 2022, because I love doing top 10 lists. They're always fun. So a little bit of a disclaimer. Some of the movies on this list have been replaced because we are 4 months into the year 2022, and some of the movies that I was anticipating have already been released, like Bhishma Parvam, CBI, Janaganamana, Hridayam. So these movies were replaced, but not to worry, new movies have been added. So that was my disclaimer. Now this is part 1 of my top 10 most anticipated Malayalam movies list. But before I go into my top 10, I'll talk about a few movies that did not make the cut for various reasons. To start things off, here is Will They or Won't They list. Now when it comes to the Will They or Won't They list, these are movies that have been announced, but I'm not sure will they be released or won't they be released. So that's why the name. 2 projects come to my mind. To start things off, there is Kathanar, a fantasy 3D Malayalam big budget thriller. Jayasuri is supposed to play the title character of Kathanar. Rojan Thomas, who previously directed Phillips and the Monkey Pen and Joe and the Boy, is supposed to be directing this movie as well. 75 crores is supposedly the allocated budget for this movie. As I said, this movie is supposed to be a fantasy thriller, so there's a lot of budget allocated for a lot of special effects, not just 3D technology but also motion capture. It's supposed to be a really big project, and there was a lot of excitement when they initially announced it back in March 2020. But of course the pandemic happened, but ever since then we haven't really heard anything about this project. The story is based off the real life character Kadamathittu Kathanar, or Kadamathittu Achan, who supposedly possessed supernatural powers, and he fought against evil, demons, Satan, etc. So I grew up on these stories, like a fairy tale and etc. So I was really excited when they announced this project. Like, I wanted to see this movie. Previously they've done serials about it. I believe there was a movie back in the day with Prem Nasir also. But again, this is supposed to be a big budget horror thriller with special effects. So I was really interested in what they would do with that movie. Unfortunately, I haven't really heard anything about it. I hope they release it. Kathanar, I hope they release it. The second movie on the Will They or Won't They list is Aaram Padra, the sequel to Anjam Padra. Now, personally for me, Anjam Padra was the most exciting investigative thriller in Malayalam for me. I just loved the way they presented this movie, the execution, the ambience the movie created. It was riveting because I watched this movie in the movie theater, and I really enjoyed how the story was told right from the beginning to the end. They really caught my attention. And I again, once this movie came out on digital, on OTT again, I watched this a bunch of times. This is a movie I really enjoyed in terms of how they made it and how the story was told. It's really fascinating, really interesting. Loved the ending, and so I was really excited when they announced that they're doing a sequel. In fact, Kunjagovan announced it on his social media page, Aaram Padra, which is, so with the name also, it kind of, they're connecting it back to the first movie. So is it a continuation? The way Anjam Padra ends also, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to give a spoiler, but potentially there was someone there at the end who could have carried the story forward. So I think pretty much everyone's returning. Even director Midhu Manuel is returning. Kunjagovan was also returning as Anwar Hussain, the protagonist for the movie. So I'm really excited what they'll do with Aaram Padra. I hope it releases again. So it was announced back in January 2021. No information so far. So I hope they, this is another movie. I hope they release it. If you guys know anything about it, please share in the comments. I really haven't come across any news. Sometime long ago, I heard it's planned for October 2022. Again, but no first look, nothing has come out. So, but hopefully they do release it. Fingers crossed. So that's it for the Will They or Won't They list. Now let's move on to the Still Worthy list. The Still Worthy list are movies that did not make the cut for the top 10, but I still think they're still worthy. So here we go. There are 3 movies on my Still Worthy list. To start things off, movie number 3 is Papan, starring our action superstar Suresh Gopi, directed by our veteran and senior director Joshi. Now Joshi is one of those directors who's managed to adapt his style of storytelling as per current times. If you look at some of his previous movies, he's one director who's kind of stayed consistent over the decades. He started in the late 70s and he's still managed to stay relevant and stay fresh. Sometimes here and there, certain movies don't work out, but he still managed to deliver certain number of hits at certain times. So for that reason, and of course Suresh Gopi is reuniting with Joshi after a bit of a break. So this movie is interesting enough also because Suresh Gopi is coming back as a police character. This is supposed to be a serial killer, investigative thriller, that kind of a movie. And also his son is also joining him. Gokul Suresh is also in this movie. So there's a lot happening over here. So not a very high profile release, but enough to capture your attention. The movie is slated for release on 20th May. I may or may not go to the movie theater to watch it, but I'll definitely check it out, Number 2 on my still worthy list is John Luther, starring Jayasuriya, and the movie is written and directed by Abhijit Joseph. Now, based on the trailer that came out, this is also another investigative thriller with Jayasuriya playing the role of a cop. Also in the trailer we saw that he is deaf in one ear, so that should be an interesting angle to the story. One of my friends, Sam, he made an interesting comparison. He said based on the trailer it kind of reminded him of the movie Joseph starring Jojo George, and I kind of agree with him. It has the same spooky, mysterious vibe to it. We'll see. The movie is supposed to come out on May 27th, so we'll see. And the number 1 movie on my still worthy list is another action movie from our action superstar Suresh Gopi. The movie is directed by Matthew Thomas. This is also Suresh Gopi's 250th movie. Based on what I read online, I got major Malayalam vibes to it, so this could be an old school Suresh Gopi action movie. However, there was a little bit of controversy surrounding this movie, and I'll get to that as we go on with our list. Now, they haven't announced a release date for this movie, but definitely there's a lot of excitement surrounding it. Ottakam and Suresh Gopi 250th movie. So let's see when it comes out. So that's it for my still worthy list. Now let's go into my top 10. Alright, so number 10 on my list is Alone, starring the complete actor Mohanlal, and the movie is directed by Shaji Kailas, and this is also Ashirwad Cinema's 30th production. So if you guys remember, their very first production was Narasimham, starring again Mohanlal, back in the year 2000. The movie was also directed by Shaji Kailas. Now for me, I'm very curious about this movie. It supposedly just has one character, and that character is played by Mohanlal. It's supposed to be a thriller of sorts, and it's supposed to take place in a flat. Now Shaji Kailas is not exactly known for his cerebral, quiet thrillers. They're usually those action blockbusters, or he's done some investigative thrillers also, but they're not exactly quiet or subtle about it. I'm interested to see what Shaji Kailas does with this movie. Also, it's he's taken sort of a break for a while also, so he's coming back with a few projects. So let's see what they're going to do with this. Probably this could be an OTT release or a theater release. They haven't really finalized on it. Both conversations are going on. Personally, I think with the subject of this movie, I think OTT would be the best way to release this movie. It just seems perfect for OTT. So we'll see when it comes out. And to quote the tagline of this movie, real heroes are always alone. So we'll wait for that real hero. Number 9 on my list is Malayalam. Now this movie's trailer came out on June 2022, but they never announced a release date for this movie. The movie stars Fahad Fasil, who's also producing the movie. Fahad Fasil has emerged as the most in-demand actor of our times now. He's wanted by movies in Telugu industry, Tamil industry, and it really speaks to his hard work and his talent. The movie is based off real incidents, specifically landslides that took place in the high ranges of Kerala. Based on what we saw in the trailer, it looks like Fahad Fasil's character gets stuck in a landslide, and the trailer looks really intense. The movie is directed by Sajivan Prabhakar, with screenplay written by Mahesh Narayanan, who previously did Malik and Takeoff. Another exciting factor for this movie is A.R. Rahman is doing the music, and I guess he's doing music for Malayalam movie after a gap of 30 years. The last movie being Yoda with Mohanlal and Jagadish Srikumar back in 1992. So Malayalam is on my list, but no idea when this movie is coming out. So hopefully the makers will announce the release date soon. So that's number 9. Number 8 on my list is Monster, starring complete actor Mohanlal. The movie is directed by Vaishak, who's previously done Puli Murugan, Madhura Raja, and of course the highlight of his movie is that they always bring in the big bucks. So Monsters looks like another thriller or action thriller from Vaishak and Mohanlal. But recently I read that this movie is going to be given an A rating or an adult only rating because there's a lot of violence in this movie. It piqued my attention because I didn't expect that. With an actor like Mohanlal, you want to target that complete audience, right? Whether it's not just a certain group of audience, you want to target the family, you want to target teenagers, etc. So with a rating like A, that's very interesting that they are going for something like that. I frankly wasn't that interested in this movie until I came across that news, because suddenly it came to my head like, okay, so they are trying something new with this script and with this with this particular movie. And Mohanlal, as popular as he is, he's also willing to kind of give up on that family audience and to focus on a more adult oriented or a mature audience, obviously with violence and things like that. So this should be something special. That's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see. They haven't really announced any trailers or any release date so far. We got a first look of the monster with Mohanlal in a turban. It didn't give me a lot of confidence when I saw that first look, because I was really confused as in, is he playing a Punjabi character, or since it's a thriller of sorts, is it some kind of costume he's dressing up in? I don't know, but again, it's definitely got my attention. And Vaishak usually comes up with interesting ideas for his movies. The only thing again that I'm thinking about is that this is not exactly that mass commercial entertainers that he usually does. This is for an adult audience. They've already announced that there's a lot of violence in this movie, so we'll see. It's supposed to be some kind of thriller. We'll see. Number 7 on my list is Kadua, starring Prithviraj Sukumaran, directed by Shaji Kailas. Now this looks like a full-fledged old school Shaji Kailas action blockbuster. Prithviraj is also producing the movie. We all know that the projects that Prithviraj take on for production are usually something new and exciting. So I'm definitely interested for this project. My only concern is Shaji Kailas is coming back after a bit of a break. So it's fine, he can do that old school action blockbuster. It's just that he should be able to successfully adapt it for our current audience. I definitely, that's what I'm looking forward to. Like everyone else, I'm so excited to see Prithviraj kicking ass and those fiery dialogues and everything that you can expect in a Shaji Kailas movie. Now previously for Ottakomban, I did mention there was a little bit of controversy, and I'll get back to it. So this is a controversy. The title characters for both Ottakomban and this movie Kadua were Kadua Kunnel Karuachan. That was the name for both Suresh Gopi and Prithviraj's character. So there was a little bit of controversy over there between the makers of the movie because of the similar characters. But ultimately the makers of Kadua had already, I think, registered a copyright for the name. So they changed the name for Suresh Gopi's character. Earlier it was Kadua Kunnel Karuachan. Now it's Parel Padathu Karuachan. But Prithviraj's character remains to be Kadua Kunnel Karuachan. And it also makes sense, right? The title of the movie is Kadua. So, we'll see another action blockbuster we can look forward to. Number 6 on my list is Tallumala, starring Tovino Thomas and Kalyani Priyadarshan. Movie is directed by Khalid Rahman, who previously did Anuragan Karikkan Veldam, Unda and Love. I like the first two movies, Anuraga and Unda, but Love was a movie that didn't work for me. I appreciate the fact that they tried to do something new with that movie, but I didn't like it at all. Hopefully Tallumala will be better. Now this movie is supposed to be an action comedy. They released a song, what was it called? Kannil Pettole. It's definitely a new gen Malayalam song. They've incorporated a little bit of hip hop and rap into it, and also it looks very colorful. Tovino Thomas dropped a lot of weight for that movie. He looks like a boy in his 20s or something. And but again, he's got some smooth moves. Earlier there was sort of a criticism, and in fact Tovino said no, he can't really dance. He doesn't know it. He doesn't like it. But done a complete 180. He's got some smooth moves. Dance looks really cool. The set looks great. I get this vibe of a really fun entertainer. So looking forward to the release of Tallumala. Hope the makers of the movie will announce the release date soon so we can anticipate for it. With that, I come to the end of part 1 of the 10 most anticipated Malayalam movies of 2022. Watch out for part 2 of this video coming out very soon. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up icon, and of course share your thoughts about my list. If you have your own list, please share them in the comments below. I would love to read them. And of course subscribe to my channel for more reviews and videos like this. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Bye.